Hello everybody, welcome to another one of my Elite Dangerous walkthrough videos. I'm going to do Painite mining again, mainly because I've had quite a few questions on it from the last video and people don't seem to fully get it. So I'm going to go through in a bit more detail some of the things. Also, as you can see from my credit balance, I've been doing quite a lot of it, so I've probably more experience than most, so I can give you a few extra hints and tips that other people probably wouldn't give you. Right, let's get started. First thing, the ship you need. Um, I'm using a cutter, which I think is the best ship. I've tried a few. Oops, wrong one. Outfitting. I just want to show you what I've got. Um, the big, well, the three big ships that work very well are T9, an Anaconda, and a cutter. Cutter's by far the best. It's the easiest to fly, nicest to work, safest, has everything, and good cargo capacity, which is important. So I have got some weapons because this was a combat ship before I converted it. You know, they're useful for dealing with pirates. So if you want to bring some big weapons, they need to be like engineered really, because the pirates are quite. Some of them are quite difficult to fight. Uh, two in these two slots here. This is where you want your 2D mining lasers, two of them, and then I just filled the rest with. I've got some multi cannons there, help out a little bit. Still takes quite a long time to kill the pirate, so I'm not too sure whether the strategy is best just to ignore them or whether to actually fight them. So that's weapons, utility mounts, all shield boosters. I've done some engineering. It's impossible to kill this ship, so it's invulnerable to most pirates unless you're really stupid. And I've got a heatsink launcher just for when I'm scooping. Sometimes I overcook the ship. It's rather than take the damage, it's easier just to use a heatsink. Uh, then the core internals, everything, the normal sort of maxed out, because this was a combat ship. But the important things really are speed, frame shift drive, power distributor, all maxed out as much as you can. Things like sensors and life support doesn't matter. Armor doesn't really matter. I've never lost my shield, so it's a waste of time really. So you could do it in like a vanilla cutter. I think that'd be quite safe. But you do want top class thrusters and power distributor to get away from the interdictions. And lastly, the optional internal, which is where all the mining stuff is. So you want to max out your cargo. So I've got two ATs. It gives me. I've got another one down here. I think I've got 576 basic cargo, and you get another 10 in the refinery, which I'll explain in a minute. You'll see later. Uh, a decent fuel scoop you need because you've got quite a long way to travel. It just saves messing about. You can just scoop as you go and scoop when you come back. So you just do the trip as normal. Yeah, there's my other cargo rack. So I've got a prismatic shield, but a 6C would work perfectly well. As I said, I've hardly ever lose one ring of shields. And you don't have to fight the pirates anyway. You just need to tank a tiny bit of fire after you've been interdicted. It's not worth fighting interdictors. I always run away from them. It's much quicker. You make more money like that. You need as many collector limpets as you got. So I got two 5As, which gives me 6. Uh, I put module reinforcements in these slots. You don't need them. Um, and then there's my refinery, a 4A, and then 3A prospector limpets. That gives me 2 prospectors. This is very important. The detailed surface scanner. You need that to see where to mine. So that's it. The detailed surface scanner, prospector limpets, refinery, collector limpets, and lots of cargo. So I'll very briefly show you the Anaconda layout. Well, this is T9 first, sorry. This one only costs, I think it's about 250 million. Yeah, down there. So the important things on this one, military grade composites, because you will lose your shields on this one, because you're sitting duck when you get interdicted, and it's dealing with the interdictions. The only trouble, sometimes you get multiple interdictions, and they whittle you down quite quickly. So it's a bit dangerous in a T9. That's the only thing I've got against this ship. You've got loads of cargo capacity. You can get extra limpets in this one. I did originally try another cargo rack there, but I found the limpets are more useful than the cargo rack. Makes collecting much easier. So I've got another 2 collectors. That's 3, 5, 9 collectors, which works really well with this ship. 3A refinery, 3A prospector, your detailed surface scanner. I got a docking computer just because I had a spare slot. Could put a small cargo rack if you wanted there, but not really much point when you're already carrying well over 500. So 2D mining lasers. You can put them in any slot really. You got one in the front here and one sort of to the side, which is a bit weird, but it does work. So shield boosters and a heatsink. This time the heatsink, as well as being used for if you overcook yourself when you're fuel scooping, it's important for interdictions. If you drop a heatsink, as soon as you've been interdicted, it just buys a little bit of extra time. They can't target you. The interdictors can't target you so easily. It breaks their lock and gives you that little bit of time to get some distance while your frame shift charges up. So that's essential on this ship. And I said military grades, just keep your armour going as long as possible. But the moment your shields are down, they'll be after you. So that's the only thing dodgy about this ship. So I wouldn't recommend it. You know, probably an Anaconda if you're unsure of how to deal with interdictions. If you've practiced in a T9, trading and stuff like that, then it is a good ship and you know how to deal with the interdictions. That's the only thing. So again, there should be a fuel scoop somewhere. I've got a 4A on this one. That's enough because it's got quite a good range on this one. And then the Anaconda, same sort of thing. Loads of shield boosters. The heat sink, same as a cutter. 2D mining lasers. Now I'm not too sure which is the best slot to put them in. I can't remember which ones I used when I tried it. So you could put them in any of these. But what you want is 2 close together, firing from under the nose or just over the nose. You know, so they're concentrated right in front of the cockpit where you see, and it makes the fragments come out straight towards you if you get them like that. You don't want them like too wide apart like you've got on a T9. So here, a 5C bi-weave shield, that'll be enough with all these boosters. You could put military grade armour in there if you're worried, but just slow you down a little bit. So same thing, you want the maximum thrusters, maximum power distributor, and then it's exactly the same mining stuff in the other ones. But with this one, I've got 2 5A collectors for 6. That's similar to the cutter. So this is very similar to the cutter, except for lower cargo capacity. I've only got 256. But what that means is this one, you can do a round trip in an hour. So a bit more travelling time because you've got to travel twice for every one in the other. So you don't, though the other one carries, you know, like nearly 600 tons, it doesn't really make a massive difference in the game. You know, it makes a difference between like 200 million and 225 or something like that per hour that you'll be getting doing this activity. So, right, that's it, strips. Just in case you're nearer the beginning of the game, if you look at my last beginners series, parts 1, 2 and 3, parts 2 and 3, I do the mining in a Sidewinder, then a T6, then a T7, I think. So, that shows you how to get started, you know, if you haven't got any money. But if you've got loads of money already and you want to have a go at this, then you can go straight in with an Anaconda or a cutter. I think it would be my two favourites. Right, so back to the game. So next thing, where to go. So before anything, I think I've already done it, but when you're mining the limpets, it's very easy to forget them. So yeah, I haven't got any in there, so I'm going to fill up. Now, with my cutter, I found that 222 is about the best number for the way that I do it. As a general rule, you probably want half your cargo capacity. Oops, gone too far. That'll do. About half your cargo capacity, because you'll waste a few at the beginning. I'm a bit better at it now, so I've honed it down a bit. I can go as low as like 210 without having to make any more. but 222 works out about right. I usually have to chuck some before I'm finished, but better to do that than not have enough. So I've got my limpets. So next thing is where to go. So we have this tool here. Very, very useful. ED tools, blah, blah, blah. You can probably just about read it up the top there. And I've already got it in here. I'm not actually here, but you just type in where you are in there and then say you want to mine Painite, and it'll list up a load. So if I just clicked on that, then it come up like this. So this is where to mine, because it thinks I'm in this one. It's obviously told me this is the nearest one. So you can copy that and paste it straight into your galaxy map. It saves you having to type it all out and make mistakes. This will be where to sell it, but we're going to do that again when we're ready to sell. So just before we leave the mining field to come and sell it, I'm going to use this again. That's where I'll be, because that's where I'm going to mine. And you look in here, because I've got a large ship, I have to find the nearest one. So I'll probably go here. But you need to check on the galaxy map, because some of these, the station's a long way from the stars. So just be mindful of that when you use this. There are a few ones. So you generally want to aim for one that's close, about 100 or less. So not doing very well at the moment. These come and go. So they come as close as 30 light years and then go as far as, furthest I've had to travel is about 130, which is why you need the fuel scoop. Right, so back to the game. And so I just open up my galaxy map. And in here, in the grey box, Control V, types it straight in for you. And here we are. It's not that far away. Click at it. So I recommend that you come to this one. There it is, exactly that one, because you can then just copy what I'm doing. I've had loads of messages from people say, oh, I tried it and I couldn't find any Painite. And I said, where did you go? And they said, well, I went to a place with pristine rings. That's not going to help you. You need to come to one with a double hotspot, which is what that tool's showing you. But it doesn't deplete or anything like that. You might as well go to the same one every time, then you know what you're doing. And I've got my 200 odd billion just from this one spot. So, you're welcome to come here as well. Right, I've already been here, so I'm going to just, what you can do, when you get there, you can choose planet number 2 from your nav panel, but I'm going to go straight to it. You won't, if you haven't been there before, you probably won't have this system information, but I'm going to navigate straight to it. But as I said, when you get to the star, just open up your nav panel, and what you want is the second planet. Or you'll be able to open up your system map, and it will show this. It'll say unexplored or something, but it's that little one there between the two other Saturn type ones. That's it. So won't waste your time now. I'm going to go out there, and I'll see you out there when I get to the planet and show you what to do there. Right, here we are arriving at the planet. You probably want to tank up with fuel with your fuel scoop when you arrive at the star, because you're going to use a little bit while you're mining, and then on the way back, occasionally, depending where you're going to sell the stuff, you might have to make a couple of jumps across systems that don't have scooping. So rather than mess about a bit, if you fill up, you've always got enough to get back. So it's this little ring planet here. And you need to be in discovery mode. So if you're in this normal combat mode, or whatever it's called, you need to change to the blue one. Now I can see the spots because I've been here before. I can't undo that, unfortunately, but I'll show you what to do. You want to come until it sort of more or less fills up your screen. You don't have to come exactly at right angles, you know, slight angles probably better. Something like that. And then you change your fire groups to your prospector, not prospector, where has it gone? Winding laser, surface scanner. Got it on that side. So point your target into the outer rings and you just, when you enter the mode, whatever it's called, I just pull my trigger on it and it does it. And then fire your probe and it'll go into the rings and it'll do the windscreen wiper thing, you know, where it sort of wipes around the whole rings. And then after that, the spots appear. So let me get back here. So once the spots appear, you get that. So leave that mode. And what we're looking for, see these two little blobs there? It's this one next to it with like these two blobs. So one's in the white ring and one's joined up to it there. So you want to aim for halfway between them. So, where am I? So you want to go about sort of somewhere around about there. What I normally do is see where the thick black ring is. There's one extra black ring just outside it, next to where my dot is. And I normally aim for that one. And I go there every time. And it works for me, so that's probably a good one to go for if you want to copy me. I don't think it makes a massive difference, to be honest. And it makes no difference whether you go in a black bit or a yellow bit. So, there we go. Now, before anything, you want to switch your night vision on. It's dark here at the moment, and look, here's the pirates. Now, sometimes they don't come until you're right down in the rocks. Sometimes they come a bit sooner, but it looks like we got 3 this time. So, no, there's 4, and they look pretty nasty. Clipper, all clippers. Oh no, he's a chieftain and another clipper, and an expert is an expert. So I'm not going to bother fighting these. So they'll come and scan you. As long as you haven't got any cargoes, you have to make sure that you did sell all your cargo before you came to the rings. And also, if you get logged out at any time, you're going to have to leave probably, because when you re-instance, the pirates will come again. Now, sometimes there's no pirates, sometimes there's a lot of pirates, sometimes there's 3 lots of them, different lots, you know, a 1, a 2, and a 1 or something like that, or quite often there's a 1 easy to deal with one, an adder or something like that. You think, oh, that wasn't too bad. And next thing you know, another 2 or 3 or 4 come. So it's just RNG. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're in any ship other than a cutter or an engineered anaconda, best not to deal with them. All you need to do is wait them out and they'll go away. Now, once they've scanned you, it used to be that you were safe to start. I'm not sure if that's still the same, because one time I did it, once I started mining, they did come back at me, so I didn't wait around to find out what happened. But if you've got cargo, they will come after you. So that's why it's best not to mine, to make sure you got rid of all your cargo. And with 4 of them, one of them at least will have hatch breaker limpets, so they take all your cargo. So same with the way back. The interdictors have hatch breakers, so don't fight them, because you know, even if you win, you can end up spilling all your cargo, which is a right pain. So what will happen is, once they've scanned you, they'll see how they are at the edge of the radar, sort of flashing. They'll go all the way around the radar, and once they get back to where they came from, so in this case it's going to be about 5 o'clock on the radar, they'll then fly up into space. So this is a good time to go and have a cup of tea, or check your emails, or go on a forum, or do anything like that, and until they're gone. The moment they've gone, you can start mining. But I wouldn't do it before then. So, but if anybody can write in the comments if they're absolutely sure whether they won't touch you once they've scanned you like they did. I know in the old days that was true. Once they scanned you, they just used to fly away anyway. But now they do this lap of the radar. And as I said, one time, I started mining and then they started coming towards me. So, which they don't normally do. So I don't know what the real answer is in that. I've never bothered to find out. So I do one of two things. I always blow them up. If there was three of them, if there was one cutter less, I would have gone for it. But with three clippers and a challenger, it's a bit dodgy, and you don't know. Some of them are quite hard to fight. And I've not got a full kit of weapons because I've got mining lasers, so I just leave them. But if it's just like a one adder or something, yeah, blow it up and get started with your mining. It saves a bit of time. But even there's often they're Cobra Mark 4s, and they do this jousting, and they fly out, like 4 kilometers, and you can't shoot them. You just have to wait for them to come back again. You could go chasing after them, but it's just so tedious. So you just sit there waiting, and back they come again, and like you're getting about 2 shots before they've zoomed past you and gone the other direction. You turn round, and they're 4 kilometers away again. And sometimes you have to ask whether it's worthwhile or not. But if you've got a medium ship, like that Challenger on its own, an Anaconda, they're quite rare. Vultures, anything like that, ram them. If you've got decent shields, ram them a couple of times first, and then just finish them off with your multi-cannons or something. It saves a lot of time. Because I think some of them even have shield cells, so it's going to be a long battle. So by ramming them, you get their shields down. As soon as their shields are gone, then you can start shooting them, and they won't fight you back. Interestingly, if you ram them, they're so stupid they don't shoot back. So you can in fact ram them to death, but just it takes a bit longer. So I'm just going to wait them out. What I'm going to do, I'll pause the recording. Yeah, while I'm waiting for them to go round, I'll just explain a couple of other things about the types of rocks you want to mine. So look at all these rocks around here. What you're looking for is generally small ones, stationary ones, and round ones. They're the easiest. So I'm looking at that one right in front of me there. That's a really nice one. This one here, although it looks round, is actually long, not the best shape. It's probably okay, that one. But coming back to this one, that one now vertically above it is just going a little bit too fast. So that one up there is a good candidate. That one there looks good. That one there, though, it's big, it's nice and slow. So that one would be okay. And the reason why you have to choose these shaped rocks, you'll figure it out after a bit. After you've practiced a bit, you'll start to see how this makes sense. Well, looks like those ships are about to go. What happens is if the rock's spinning too fast, it throws the fragments all over the place. And if they're too jagged, irregular shape, yep. See though, I've got the white dot there on the screen. That's the wake of those ships now. So they've high wake Michael Bell. That would be the Challenger. He's gone now. So right, I'm ready to go now. I could have done this fiber prospector before, but you fire your prospector. When you fire the prospector, you don't want to be moving too fast forward. One thing, you don't want to accelerate forward. So it's all right if you're flying fast in a cutter. Some other ships, it's worse because what happens is you catch them up and damage them. You bump into them and it breaks them or something. So that one's got 11% painite in it. That's not enough. I'm looking for any rock with more than 25%. So let's find another rock then. So we got that one up there. Oops. Oops. So generally, you want to... I've got my buttons mixed up. you want to fly towards the planet. So we've got that one right behind it, looks okay. Oop, I've changed groups again. Yeah, I've been using different sticks on my other computer, and I'm not quite, I haven't got the muscle memory yet. I've done it again. The button's in a different place, so I keep pressing the wrong one. Right, 40%, that's okay. So we're ready to go now. So change fire groups. You want your cargo hatch out, and then fire off all your prospectors and start mining. So I'm just keep pulling the trigger for the fire group 2 till they're all out. That's it. When you see 0 and 0, that's it. So they're all out. So just ready to mine. Oh, got to do my pips. So I found that you want 4 pips to weapons and 1 to shields, whatever ship you're using. Because you bump into the rocks occasionally and it just knocks your shields down a little bit. You know, as long as you've got 4 to weapons to get the maximum mining, you're clear to go. So I was a bit slow in getting the collectors out in that time, so it spread the fragments out a bit. So now I've got to wait while it does it. If I did it like really well, I shall show you in a minute, it saves a lot of time. There is some RNG involved. It doesn't matter how careful you are, they still get spread out. And as I said, the faster the rock's spinning, the more spread out they get. So just be mindful of that. So you can start sort of lining up the other way. But what you mustn't do is let a rock get between a fragment and you, because the limpets go straight line. And if they have to go behind the rock, they can't get back and they'll expire. So you need to use your side thrusters and up and down thrusters a bit for getting round to avoid the rocks. So there's a nice one there. So prospector. And you need to keep pointing at the rock. See, I've got that dot in the middle of my screen. That's called the mouse widget. Did I get it? You know, it's quite easy to wiggle off. 17%, not enough.
Asteroid scan complete.
Still keep pressing the wrong buttons on my sticks.
Aspect limpet failed.
43%. So that's okay. Here we go again. So you got the idea now. It's not that difficult. Oh, you want to get, when you got a stationary rock, you can get nice and close like this. Now watch the fragments. They're coming straight at me in a nice line. And you'll see how efficiently the limpets collect them up. So this is your goal. And that's why it's important that you have 2 mining lasers like right in your nose, so that they're close together and, you know, right where you can see them. So you can get your ship nice and close. So it won't take long to hoover them up this time. So as soon as you can see the last one's been picked up by a limpet, you're then ready to move. But don't move too soon. Yeah, it's very easy to start moving off while you... No, I've done it again. That's the one I want. 12%. So about a third of the rocks are mineable. You can go 10 at a time without finding one. No, I've done it again. That's muscle memory. 55%, that's not bad. Yeah, so that's once you've started, that's the only thing you got to remember, not to let the fragments get behind the rock. So if they were coming out to the left there, and then you start moving on to the right to mine the next rock. That's when the trouble comes. So always be patient. Once you've finished mining, get a bit closer there. Once you've finished the rock, once it's depleted, then just wait a bit till the last fragment's been collected. As long as the limpet's got it, you're normally all right. But you can see whether it's got a chance coming back straight back to the ship. If they're a bit spread out, it's sometimes better to wait anyway. It's really infuriating when they get trapped behind, because they keep getting wiped out. You know what happens? The next limpet will try and get it, and he'll blow up. Next one, the next one, so you've got no limpets left. Then you bring out 6 more, and they all do the same thing. So you've got plenty of limpets, not to worry too much about that. But it's best not to let it happen. So now, just carry on doing this. There's no more danger from anything now. No more pirates will come. I've done it again. The select button's in a different place on my other sticks, and I've just got the muscle memory now from the other one. As well as away over Christmas, I was playing on a different PC with different sticks. Alright, not a nice one. So I'll just do this one and one more, and then I'll show you what to do at the end. So you get nice and close. You don't want your nose to actually touch the rock. Oh, there's a couple of other things I need to show you. Yeah, the limpets come into your cargo hatch, which is obviously under your belly. So when you move between rocks, you don't want the belly of the ship to sort of go over the rock, because you'll wipe out the limpets. So it's always best to turn sideways on, you know, to let the flank of your ship go down adjacent to the rock when you're going to the next. So I'm going to go to the one on the right there. I'll show you what I mean. So what you don't want to do is roll 90 degrees and then go towards it, because the belly will be then right up against that rock. So what I'll probably just use is my side thruster. Just wait a bit. That's it. So side thruster and yaw to it, and then the limpets stay underneath the belly where they're safe. I've done it again. That's it. Yeah, keep an eye on the little white dot on your mini radar. As long as that's solid, you know, you probably won't go over the same rocks again. But that's the only thing you're trying to avoid. It looks like we've just come into the lights when oh, I've done it again. Yeah, when I just came into the rings, I was in the dark zone, the shadow of the planet. And when it's like that, the rocks are no longer in 3D, they're in 2D, which makes judging the distance between them quite difficult. When the sun's on them like this, you can see quite clearly which ones are in front of which. So when it's dark, even though you've got your night vision on, you can't make out whether it's a small rock a long way away, sorry, a large rock a long way away, or a small rock close to you. So you can waste a lot of time flying if you're not careful. So what I found the best thing to do is just to fly towards the rocks and look which ones are moving relative to which, and the ones moving the fastest are obviously the closer. So then you can select those to mine. So now this rock's a little bit jagged, but I think I'll be okay. So what you want to do, you don't want to get clouted by the bit that's overhanging like that. So what I normally do is I'll just move around the side a bit, but mysteriously often the rock will follow you. You know, it's rotating one way, and then the moment you start mining, it suddenly changes its direction of rotation. So yeah, some people say, yeah, always go to the side, you know, the centre of the rotation, because it's not moving relative to you. But they flip. They have two axes of rotation. Not all of them, but most of them. So, you know, they're rotating like up and down, and then they sort of change over to rotating side to side. It's a special effect. I can't remember what they call it now. So physical effects, you know, like gyroscopes. So I think that's it for all the little tips on how to mine. So you can help the limpets a bit by just flying where the fragments are. But just be, as I said, be very careful if they're spread out that you don't get some trapped on the other side of the rock. Right, I just got the message that the cargo hold is at maximum capacity, which basically means full. But you'll notice I've still got 83 limpets. So now what I've got to do is dump some of them. So if I come over here, I normally dump about a third, so I don't know what that is. I'm going to get rid of about 25 for now. Oops. And the trick is, you'll see later, you have to, the idea is to get your refinery full after your cargo hold's full, and you need limpets to do that, which I'll show you in a minute. So I've just lost track of where I am. I've done that one, yeah. So there's a couple of things I didn't mention earlier that I need to, is that when you fire your prospector, you need to target it to see what's in the rock, like that. You probably saw me do that, but just in case you missed that. And when it shows the percentages, what's in the rocks, the only thing that counts is how much Painite's in there. So you're looking for 25% or more. It doesn't make any difference whether there's other stuff in there, and the material content, high, low, medium, doesn't really make a difference. I think the content is how much you get from each fragment. So you get fewer fragments with the high ones than you do with the low ones. But I haven't noticed a massive difference in the time to mine each rock. So it's got 55% and it's medium. And if you actually click on the fragment, target it, you'll see how much Painite that fragment's got in. And that affects how quickly it fills up your refinery. But that's really the only thing that's important about that. Right, and that brings me to the next thing. The collector limpets, you do need to keep an eye on them. Where it says 0.53, you need to make sure that no number ever appears where that 0 is, like 1, 2 or 3 or whatever, because that means that they've expired. You don't always get the message that they've expired, so just keep your eye on that, and every time you see it go to 1, just fire off another one. And you want the collectors in the same fire group as the mining lasers. The prospector you want to be in a different one, because you can obviously only have 2 in the same. You know, you got trigger 1, trigger 2. So it just expired then. I'll just fire them all off again. Yeah, so keep an eye on that. And one other thing I haven't done yet is the ignore list. So when you're mining, oh, there was only Painite in this one. I'll show you on the next one. Which way am I going? Yeah, obviously, I can imagine it's a lot easier picking out your rocks if you've got a head tracker or VR. Because the trouble is you can only see through the windscreen. Right, so that's got 30% in it, so that's mineable. and it's also got osmium and gold in. But as you'll notice, I'm only seeing Painite fragments, because what you do at the beginning when you first come, you come over to this contacts panel, and anything, you'll see them blanked out down the bottom normally. Trouble is they're all going to shift about now while I'm doing it. But where they've got anything other than, oh, they've all got Painite in. Like, let's see if I can get that one there. Let me just, oh, didn't mean to do that. Lost the limpet now probably. Where are we? Right, where it's, if you look on the right side, it says add Painite to ignore list. Obviously I don't want to do that, but there was remove osmium from ignore list. So in the beginning you need to add it to the ignore list. You add every single where was I? It's been up here. Every single metal, you know, ore to the ignore list, but leave your materials. Was that the one I was doing? Lost the track of where I was now. Is it expired? Yeah, where's the other one? It's the trouble when you're talking and doing at the same time. It's easy to get mixed up. That's it. Back up and running now. Forget where I was now. So yeah, basically add everything to the ignore list except for the materials. Now, with the materials, after 3 trips of this cutter, some of the materials will be full up, and you'll see the fragments staying behind. It gets more complicated to see when you've picked up all the fragments then, because there'll be fragments of iron and carbon and stuff like that left behind. So you need to visit a material trader every 3 trips, and there's one right next to this system called Yuckpenon, Yukpenon. So after you've sold your 3rd lot of Painite, assuming you're using this ship, I mean, you'll figure out what the frequency you need to visit him is, but you can't wait until you start to see that you're getting you're full of that material, and then you just visit instead of flying straight to here, fly to Yuckpenon, do all your material trading, trade them all up to the high level ones until you're all empty with the ones that you're filling up with. So you see there, look, I've collected a manganese. They come up, I don't know how many you get from each rock, but 5 or 6. So we'll just see what other ones come up. So the cargo hold's full again, so I need to get rid of some more limpets now. Well, I could have got them, there's an iron just picked up there. So they're filling up my material capacities, carbon. They're the common ones, and there's some less common. But you'll soon figure out which are which, and then you go to the material trader and clear out all the ones, trade them up, and then you can fill them up again. So for me, it's every 3 trips I have to go and see the material trader. Right, so I've got to get rid of some more of these. So I'm going to get rid of about 16 this time. I mean, when you've got loads of limpets, it's not too bad, but as they go down, when you get into like 10, the danger is that there can be 10 rocks in a row with no Painite in, and as sure as eggs are eggs, that's what happens. And because you had 10 limpets there, you've then got 10 tons of capacity in your cargo hold, which you can't fill because you got no more prospector limpets to see which rocks have got Painite in. So you just have to do them at random and hope, and then your collectors expire, and then you're down to manual picking, which is not really worth it. You might as well fly back and sell what you got then. But if you want to fill up completely, normally I can fill up 100% with my technique. So there's the 576 in the cargo hold, and then 10 in the refinery. And what happens is, when you sell your stuff in the station, it clears out your cargo hold, but the 10 waiting in your refinery then gets refined, and another 10 will appear in your cargo hold after you've sold the other stuff, so you can sell it straight away. But as I said, you do have to be careful. You have to remember about that, because the first time I did it, I didn't realise that happened. You know, I didn't even realise I'd got anything in the refinery. So what happened was, after I sold my stuff, 3 more refined themselves into my cargo hold, and I flew back to here to do some more mining, and I couldn't figure out why the pirates were attacking me. Of course, it's because I've got these 3 tons on board still, and yeah, so I had to fight them off, and they were like difficult ones as well. So just be careful of that, and also you might get interdicted on the way out here. Not that that's a problem, because you know, unless you're not good at fighting or escaping, you can get blown up. Where am I going? Right, so I've just got the full message again. So I've got 16 collector limpets, which means I've got 16 capacity in my cargo hold now, and 10 capacity in the refinery. So let's just see what that says. If it says cargo hold full, yeah, it has. So now I know I've got 15 and 10. That's at most 25 more. Now this is a 51 rock. That's going to get me about 13, 14, which isn't enough. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pick out some more rocks. I'm going to keep close to this one. And I need another one that's got about 40% in to get me the 24 that I need. Because this one's going to get me about 14, so I need another one with about 10, which will be about 40%. So I've got to be careful, because that's got 35%. That it's close. Might just do it. If I get any Painite at all in this one, I'm okay. So now, where's that rock? It's that one down there. So the thing is, that's got no prospector in it anymore. It's expired, but it still works. Now, this is lucky, because my collectors have just all expired, so I can replenish those now, and they're going to last for 12 minutes. So they're going to last me till I get to the end. The danger is, just when you get to this last bit, they all expire. So what you need to do is get rid of your limpets, you know, like with 5 left, 3 left, 1 left. You need to save 1 right till the very last minute, otherwise you won't fill up your hold. So how many have I got now? I've got 8 left. So we'll see what happens after I finish this rock. I got that one above me with 35% in it. That's going to get me about 10 tons. So if I get cargo hold full before this one's finished, I should be all right. Yeah, so that what's happened now is it's filling up the refinery rather than the cargo hold. But I can afford to get rid of a few more, because I know I've just replenished them all. So I'll get rid of another 4, say. So that means I now need 14 more tons to fill up the refinery, at the most. So just in case of accidents, no, I'll leave those there now. That's still filling up the refinery. You don't have to look at the refinery to see how much there is. So I should be okay now. Let's see what happens. Hope I haven't misjudged, otherwise I'm going to be blind mining. It was that one there. I mean, I could fire off another couple just to be sure. They're gonna dump them anyway, just while I'm flying here. Yeah, got 8%. That probably covered me the emergency. Right, so now I've got 3 limpets left. And this is a nice easy rock, so I don't think they're going to expire, but you'll be surprised they get trapped you know, on that last rock, and then you run out of limpets. It always seems to happen. So you just got to be careful. You're juggling a little bit, reducing bit by bit as you get closer, so you're guaranteed to have limpets right to the end. Even if you got one, at least it can pick up all the fragments, which is a lot quicker than doing it, you know, by scooping, you know, manually through the cargo scoop with that target thingamajig. Yeah, 8% is going to get me about 2 or 3 tons. So it's resources unallocated. It means the refinery is full. So I can afford to get rid of all 3 of these now. So let's see what happens now. See how close I was. No, so I've got no limpets left, and my refinery isn't full yet. So lucky, I'm going to need that 8% that was in that one. So if we look at the refinery now, you can see, look, it's a 1 bin to fill up. There he goes. So next time I see unallocated stuff in red, I'm then ready to go home. So that's given me a full refinery plus the 576 tons. Took a long time to fill up that refinery. There we go, just made it. So, normal procedure, just point away from the rings at right angles to them. Put away your weapons. Forgotten how to do that on this one now. How do I do that? That's it. And, right. And what you want to do is put 4 pips to engines and 2 to systems for the way back to deal with the interdictions. So we can boost. Put the cargo scoop away. Forgotten how to do that now. It's because I've been using these other sticks. That's that cargo. Oh, that's that one. So that was weapons away. Right. Yeah. Never change sticks. It really upsets you. Right, so now I can boost. Right, so while we're boosting out of there, we now come back to our tool. We're in high aid sector DBX D111. So let's go looking for Painite. It's always best to do an update beforehand, so it's still that same one. Vasilyev Vision in LP, whatever. So copy. Open up your galaxy map. And in the grey box, and because I've been there before, where's the right one? Yeah, I should be able to target it directly. There it is, only 205 light seconds. Right, so it's behind me. Right, so I've just got the message. The rumour was right. So let's see what happens. There he is on the right-hand side. I might get away just before he gets a chance if I get enough speed up. Yeah, so I got away from that one. What I found is when you, especially when you're scooping, you know, if you keep close to the star, like they often appear behind you. So when you go round the star's between you and them, so they can't get a direct shot at you. So then when you turn away from the star, they've got to fly behind you round the star before they can interdict you. So that works quite well. Generally, when you've seen one like that, you won't get bothered again, except for in the final drag from the star to the station. There, depending on the length, if it's a close one, you rarely get interdicted. But if it's a long way, I've been interdicted 3 times. Once they've got you, the first time, you know, they'll just keep coming after you. So it's quite important that you got a ship capable of running away from them. So the procedure I use is just to submit and boost again, get a frameshift drive going, wave them bye-bye. You know, between the doesn't matter what ship you're in, when you're traveling between systems, I think you can always get away. But when you're in that final drag to the station, because you're jumping back into supercruise and not into another system, you can get mass locked. So when you're in a slow ship, especially the T9, you know, there's an anaconda come after you. It is quite difficult to get away. You have to take a little bit of fire as you're spooling up your frameshift drive each time, and because they're going to get you multiple times, that's why you need bi-weave shields to make sure they regenerate before he gets you again. But as I said, I found heatsink works quite well for that. It just buys you that bit of extra time. You know, keeps his weapons off you, you know, while you're waiting for your frameshift drive to cool down. In a ship this fast, anyone that can get over 300, the NPCs don't boost, it seems. So each time you boost, you get more distance on them until by the time they're firing on you, you're too far away from them for the fire to do any damage. That's why it's a very safe way, much better than doing the mini game trying to escape, because that works like 90%, 9 out of 10 times, and the one time you mess up, and then you're a sitting duck because you've got to wait for your frameshift to cool right down. And you know, if you're in a slow ship, you know, especially a T9, you haven't got much chance. So I would always submit in a T9. Yeah, some people say in a small ship you could always beat them in a mini game, but there's always the odd time you mess up, and then you're vulnerable. So I would find it better to submit, boost again, frameshift drive, wave bye-bye, and that's it. And I've been playing this game for over 6,000 hours, and I have never been killed from an interdiction when I've submitted, and I can't remember the last time I didn't submit. You know, when I first started, you know, I thought it was a great thing to shoot the interdictors just out of spite, but then I figured out that all it does is waste time and money. You know, it's time you could be mining, and I'm making 200 and roughly from this trip I'm going to make about 250 million an hour. So to spend 10 minutes fighting a stupid, you know, ship that interdicts you, normally an FDL, which takes a bit of time to get rid of. That's time that you could have earned. What's that? That's a sixth of 200 million, whatever that is. So, and for killing it, all you get is the chance of spilling all your cargo out when he gets the hatch breaker limpet on you, and chance of getting blown up and losing everything. And if you kill him, you know, you get about 100k bounty money or something. It's just not worth the time or the risk. So don't do it. I mean, normally I wouldn't carry weapons on a mining ship or anyone for trading, anything like that. But the weapons are useful for when you arrive at the mining field and you've got weak pirates, because then it's quicker to kill them than it is for waiting for them to go away. But you saw it took about, you know, a few minutes while they fly around the field to go away. it's not a big deal. So what I normally do if I'm playing, like when I'm playing for 2 hours, you know, I take my break when I've arrived at the place where I'm mining, not at the station. You know, I do all my business there, fly out there, fly into the rocks, and I see the pirates there, and then I go and make a cup of tea, or, oops, so I got 3/4 throttle. Yeah, so that's what I do. And then carry on for the second section. It takes about 2 hours for the whole session, you know, from leaving the station to arriving back. But I think I've beaten it. I'll look at the clock afterwards and see how long it's actually taken. I've probably lost, you know, a few minutes because I've been narrating instead of doing things like the quickest I would normally do them, and I lose concentration a lot when I'm doing that. But you'll see the sort of time it takes. I reckon it's going to be about an hour and 3/4 from when I left to when I've sold to get my 225 million. It works out, I get 440, no, what is it? 400, it's a 2 hour trip roughly, and I get 444 million for the main cargo, and then another 7 million for what's left in the refinery.
Delta 8 Victor, welcome to this Alliance facility, Commander. Hope we can be of service. Request approved. Proceed to landing pad 40.
Normally I come straight into the station and that, I wasn't thinking, probably because I was talking, but you don't want to hang about. Like, you'll notice there's a few yellow ships around there. I've been here before, so I'm allied. And they're all making their way to the station. If you're quick, if you fly like full throttle towards it,
Speed restrictions are in operation within the facility perimeter.
yeah, we know that. Yeah, if you fly straight to what you get there first, and then you get a hassle-free entry, so no danger. You can go in quite fast without worrying about bashing into other ships and things. But if you hang around, come in crooked, and then struggle at the entrance, that's where it's all going to go wrong. So you don't want to fall out with the stations. Okay, bounties and fines and things like that. Alright, landing gear. Down. Yeah, it's really weird, like, I'm using twin Verpil sticks at the moment, Mongoose T50s or whatever they're called. And, you know, while I was away, I was using Cytec X52s, and the button layout's completely different. And I'll tell you what, you soon, enough get you mixed up.
Ship is down. Clear for system
Right, so let's see what we get. Very occasionally, the price isn't the same as what it says in the. Well, it never is the same as what was in the that tool. So if we have a look, what does it say? 798. Well, I'm only getting 762, but that's not bad. So you need to check it, and you know, it'll either be down in the 300s or up in the 700s. So if it's down in the 300s, use the tool again, because it's never 100%, but I say more than 19 out of 20, maybe 39 out of 40 times it's correct. I've done it so many times, you know, it's just eventually it will be wrong. It'll just say about 330 and I'll have to fly to another station. So now you can see the other 10 has come from the refinery into my hold, so I can now sell that and get another 7 and a bit million. So there we go. So now I'm up to 234 billion. I'm going for 1/4 trillion. What was I going to say? Yeah, we'll have a look at the clock in a minute, and then see how long that took. So, before doing anything, do your advanced maintenance. I always do the integrity, because that goes down all the time. I need my paintwork doing, but it looked a bit rough when I first looked at this video. Right, and then restock with your limpets. Always restock before I shut down, just in case I forget when I start up. Oops, 220 on. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, unless I'm going to the material trader at Yuck Pennon, in which case, you know, I do the limpets there. That's it. So I'm ready. That's one complete session. 220 odd million. I got where is she? A rather greedy crew. There she is. 23 million. That's more than most commanders. But she's been with me for a long time, so I don't want to get rid of her. She was very helpful in the beginning when I was doing combat and stuff. So, right. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I've just had a little bit about the actual earnings rates, and then I'll see you in another video. I hope you found that helpful. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. But before I go, one important thing is just go exactly to the spots that I went. Don't try and go anywhere else. You can go to other places, you know, if you follow the right rules, but you don't need to. Just go to this one. You know it works. You can go exactly where I went, and you'll get exactly what I got, and you'll be very happy. But go to pristine rings and things like that, you know, and then come on the forum complaining that you can't find any Painite. Right, and also another thing, some people say, oh, take abrasion blasters, and you probably did notice that there was lumps on the outside of some rocks. It's a waste of time doing that. You know, by the time you've changed fire groups and knocked them off and whatever, repositioned your ship. The trouble is, they're on all round the rock, and you have to wait for them to come round because you can't move your ship until you've collected all the fragments. Otherwise, it starts obliterating your limpets and things. So my recommendation is don't do it. Just forget about them. It doesn't, you know, it just slows you down. So yeah, some rocks even have cores which you can blast open. So if you just want to do it for fun, you know, because you like the idea of blasting rocks and things like that, yeah, by all means bring all the stuff. But if you're after the maximum earnings rate, don't waste your time. Just mine the Painites. You know, with your mining lasers. That's all you need to do. Right. Okay, I'll see you again sometime.